Hey gang, it's Steve Austin. Thanks for downloading the Steve Austin Show Unleashed. We're locked and loaded, ready to rock and roll, but first I could give you hundreds of reasons why you should sign up for Dish, but I'm only going to give you one, and that reason is $19.99 a month for 12 months. Yeah, that's right. With Dish, you can get great programming for the whole entire family starting at just $19.99 a month for a full year. So why would you pay more? I mean, serious, folks, listen to me. Why would you pay more? Why are you paying more than $20 a month for the first year of great TV? Call Dish right now and get free installation in up to 6 rooms. I said free installation in up to 6 rooms. 844-269-DISH. That is a toll-free number, 844-269-DISH. And do it now because it's a limited time offer. 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee and other restrictions apply. Call for details. So to get Dish for just $19.99 a month for 12 months, call 844-269-DISH. And while you're talking to one of the fine people at Dish, ask them about other great deals on upgrades to the Hopper and how you can watch your TV anytime, anywhere. This is a win-win, folks. Call 844-269-DISH. Hey, folks, we love hearing from you, so keep on sending your tweets and comments because we read every single one of them. And don't miss the chance to take our very important listener survey at podcast1.com. See, your responses will help us make this show the very best it can be. It'll only take about 3 minutes of your time, and you'll get the instant gratification that comes with knowing you helped us out. You can tell us how you really feel about the show and help us get to know you better. Do it now. Take the survey at podcast1.com. That's podcast1.com. And keep those tweets and comments coming, and that's the bottom line.
The following program is a podcast1.com production. He started in a small town in Texas. Worked his ass off to become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time.
We're going to take care of business tonight, and that's the bottom line.
And now he's dominating the world of on-demand audio. And he's doing it for the working man.
This is a damn good outlet for me to spew the bullshit off my brain.
Yeah! This is the Steve Austin Show. Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to Steve Austin Show. I'm coming to you from the mean streets of Los Angeles, California today. What in the flying hell is going on in your life? I'll tell you right now what's going on in mine. I got short notice. I'm trying to get all my clothes and my tennis shoes and my T-shirts and all my wardrobe ready to head over and film Redneck Island. I'll tell you what, I'm so happy to be doing this show again. It's one of my favorite shows to do. But kind of short notice, so I'm trying to goddamn buy all these clothes and shit. If there's one thing I can't stand is going to the damn store and trying shit on. I went the other day by myself, and I think I ended up with 2 pairs of shorts and no shirts, and spent a couple hours trying to do that by myself because I didn't take my wife with me. And my wife called me up on the phone. She goes, well, why didn't you take me? Because I know how to shop. And I was in a guy mode, doing stupid shit. And I just figured, hell, man, it ain't nothing but buying clothes. I mean, how hard could it be to go out and pick out some shit at the store to wear for Redneck Island? Well, fuck. I hate to shop. And when you get in there in the dressing room and the lights are kind of half-ass and you look at something and it looks okay on you, it either looks okay or it looks like shit. But nothing ever really strikes as like, hey, this is badass. So it's kind of like you're on the cusp of, should I buy this motherfucker or should I not? So you need that deciding factor. You need your wife or your girlfriend, whatever the case may be, to sit there and say, yes, that looks good, or no, that looks like shit, or that kind of looks okay. And if it kind of looks okay, you probably don't want to buy it because it doesn't look all that great. Well, hell, being Mr. Independent, had to bust out on my own like a hot shot, go on a shopping spree. Wasted 2 or 3 fucking hours trying to buy 2 pairs of shorts. So anyway, round 2 continued today. But this time I took my wife with me. and we went to one store and bought about 6 or 7 pairs of shorts, about 8 shirts. I got 3 pairs of shoes and a pair of sandals. Y'all thinking, what the fuck? He's going to film Redneck Island. What does he need all these goddamn clothes for? It's called a change of wardrobe, folks. In my personal, regular, everyday life, I wear the same shit damn near every day. I got a bunch of the same models of shorts. I got the same models of shirts. They're all the same color, too. If y'all was at the damn grocery store and worked there and you saw me come in as much as I do to go buy my groceries, you'd think, does this motherfucker have any other clothes? Yeah, the answer is, I got a fair amount of clothes, but they all look the same. It's all the same shit. Once I find something that I like, I just buy a bunch of it. All my shorts, same color. All my camo, it's the same shit. So anyway, and I think they probably got a little bit mad at me on Broken Skull Challenge this past season because I could have rotated my shorts a little bit better than I did. But, you know, I ain't out there to try to look pretty and get gussied up. It's a fucking reality television show. And the reality is, all my shit looks the same. It's always clean when I wear it, but it's all the same. So anyway, that being said, let me see. I got several shoes options. I got the sandals. I got a pair of flip-flops in case I wear flip-flops. And it's going to be interesting to see what kind of cash we got rolling up into this season of Redneck Island because this is season 4. Now, I know there's going to be some smart motherfuckers coming up over here because they done watched all the other episodes, so they're going to be up to speed. So we're going to have to throw a couple of monkey wrenches at them to take them off their base. Anyway, when I get through filming Redneck Island, I will fly back to Los Angeles, literally be off for about 7 days, and we'll film Broken Skull Challenge. So that means I'm going to have to go get some more clothes to film Broken Skull Challenge because I don't want to wear the same shit I used last season on this season, and I can't use all the shit that I wore on Redneck Island on Broken Skull Challenge. Now, certainly, 1 or 2 of the shorts may make the crossover, and maybe 1 or 2 of the pairs of shoes, but I'll probably re-up for that one too, which is going to require another trip to go get some damn clothes, which means I'm taking my wife with me the first time so we can do the job right the first time and not go back and do it again. I've been getting a ton of emails to questions@steveaustonshow.com or on my Twitter account, SteveAustinBSR, saying, where in the flying shit is the merch section on your damn website because we saw some cool-ass shit on the Broken Skull Challenge and we'd like to get some if you put it up there so we can buy it. So I'm trying to handle that. Just been a little bit lackadaisical trying to find a sumbitch that's worth the shit to handle all that stuff. But it is in the works. I am working on it. I got so much shit going on. Y'all know before I go into the camera and do something, my wife always tells me, she says, Steve, you got to go down and get yourself a facial. And to get all the blackheads and shit off my face, I'm not talking about one of them damn prima donna pussy facials where they go and just rub a bunch of soap on your face. The kind of facial I get, you got to be a tough motherfucker to withstand. This is one of them ones, and probably 90% of chicks out there that get facials on a regular basis ain't never had this kind of facial. This lady that I go to in Beverly Hills, she got like thumbs of steel. And she puts those thumbs together and she squeezes out every single blackhead on my face. And she's looking through a magnifying glass so she don't miss none of them. But my wife makes me go do this because she wants me to look as pretty as I can possibly be for camera when I go film. Now understand this. When we go film Redneck Island, I ain't got nobody putting on my makeup because there ain't no makeup person out there. So I need to look as good as I can. When I go film the toughest show on television, the Broken Skull Challenge, get this, we ain't got no makeup personnel because, hello, this ain't one of them foo-foo fucked up kind of prima donna shows. This is where bad motherfuckers come down to the ranch to do badass things. I ain't going to be out there with some of the best athletes in the United States of America, whether they're men or women, out there getting a bunch of makeup on like a damn sissy. So I go get a facial to be able to look good. So anyway, I went and got the facial. And while the lady was in there squeezing all the shit out of my face, she noticed a little red spot on my forehead. And she said, well, you need to go down and let the skin doctor look at that. She said, you need to go get that thing looked at. So I came back and said, hey, the lady told me I needed to go see a skin doctor, a dermatologist, whatever it is, a skin doctor. We got a badass doctor in Los Angeles. And believe me, if this dude's in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills specifically, and he's like one of the top guys, he knows his shit. So anyway, we're driving to the damn dermatologist to get my damn red spot looked at, and it turned out my wife had gotten a facial right before I got mine, and she had a red spot on her face that the lady said she needed to be looked at. So what we did was book an appointment where we're both in there together at the same time, getting our red spots looked at. Anyway, turns out we go in there. We're in the waiting room, and we got this great view of the Hollywood Hills. Los Angeles is beautiful, other than the layer of smoke, that smog ring that hangs over the city. We're just chilling out. And I see this mirror over on the counter. So I said, well, let me go check out the mirror. I looked in that mirror, and all of a sudden, it was like a magnifying mirror. Now, I've seen magnifying mirrors before. They just kind of multiply what you see by, 3 or 5 or something. This motherfucker magnified my face about 50 times. All of a sudden, I was looking at a big-ass gray bush on my chin. You talk about fucked up, mister. I looked like I was 150 years old. This damn mirror was so damn powerful. I don't know what the deal was with it, but it scared the shit out of me. I looked like I was looking at a manatee or a walrus that was 75 years old. Now, I only have a couple of gray hairs in my goatee when you look at me from a regular distance with your regular eyeballs. But when you look through a 50 power, I saw so much shit on my face and so many gray hairs in my goatee, I said, what the fuck? It was like seeing the scariest movie that I've ever seen in my life, and it was my goddamn face. I put that damn mirror down, and I said, motherfucker, dude, up close, you look like shit, especially magnified up close. When the doctor finally came in, my doctor's cool as a motherfucker. He sprints. He competes in races. He's like 55 years old. He's a pretty bad little cat. And I told him, I said, Doc, I don't know where you got that fucking mirror, but that son bitch scared the shit out of me. And he started laughing because I guess most of the ladies that go in there look at the mirror and they got all kinds of shit to complain about because you know how much more vain or give a shit more than guys do about their facial features. So anyway, I guess that the guy probably sees, if I had to put a percentage on it, the guy probably sees 85% female and 15% guys. And then he gets a guy like me that comes in there with a red spot on his face, and I'm complaining about the goddamn mirror that he's got there in his office. It scared the shit out of me, and it's my face. Anyway, long story short, turns out my red spot wasn't nothing but a thing like a chicken wing on a shoestring. He gave me some cream to put on the damn thing, and I'm supposed to go back in about 6 weeks. And then it turns out that my wife's little red spot was about the same thing as I had, so she got to use the same cream. So it was double dipping on the prescription. So anyway, we got this little tube of shit from Walgreens that we put on our face, and all is good over here at the Austin household. But since I'm an old wrestler, I had to hit him up with this one. Hey, Doc, you don't think you can hook a brother up with about 60 Percocet, do you? I'm just kidding. I didn't ask the skin doctor for no pain pills. Jesus Christ, what kind of lowlife do you think I am? Anyway, it turns out all's fine with the red spots on our face. And then we was driving home, and we leased a BMW X5 for my wife to drive. And we was in traffic, and we was going home. And, the X5 is an SUV. It has a hatchback on it. And all of a sudden, we're going down the road, and the hatchback on the BMW opens up. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And we stop at a stoplight. And I'm looking at the back, And the people behind us are laughing our ass off because we look like a couple of dipshits because the hatchback is open. And I'm thinking, man, lucky we ain't got our dogs in the back or they jump out like a sumbitch right in the middle of the damn street in Los Angeles, California. The light turned green. So I couldn't jump out and go slam the hatch. So I gassed it and we kept going. I said, well, motherfucker. On the BMW X5, previously on a podcast, I complained about how shitty those little bitty-ass sorry sun visors are on the X5. Well, there ain't a button on that dashboard to close that hatch. Now, what I guess happened was my wife had the key fob. It's one of those keys. You don't start it like an old car. You just put it inside the car and you push the start button. And the purse was on the floorboard. So I'm figuring my wife stepped on the damn purse, hit the damn open hatch button, and that's why it opened up. But you can also push that button again, and it's supposed to close the hatch. So she's sitting there pushing the button. The hatch won't shut. And I'm scanning traffic, also scanning the dashboard to try to find the fact that there's got to be a button to close the fucking hatch. And I couldn't find it. So my wife is saying, well, pull over so we can close the hatch. I said, no, what we'll do is next time we get to a stoplight, you just jump out and go close the hatch. My wife said, I ain't going to jump out and close the hatch. She said, you jump out and close the hatch. People, I'm a global icon and a national treasure. I can't jump out at a stoplight and go shut the hatch on my BMW X5. What if the TMZ reporters were there and got me on film doing that? That's why I said, Kristen, next red light, you jump out and close the hatch. She replied, fuck you. That means we're probably not going to stop and neither one of us is going to close the fucking hatch. So anyway, I was looking for a red light. And you know how when you're driving to some place, you always get all these red lights. And it's very rare that you can get all green lights and just go somewhere without stopping. Finally, when you want a red light, you can't get a red light. I couldn't get a red light to save my ass. Green light, green light, green light. My wife's telling me, just pull over and close it. Well, y'all know me. I'm destination-oriented. I don't want to pull over and shut the hatch unless I'm at a red light. But I couldn't get a red light. So finally, my wife's yelling at me, and I had to take a left. So I take a left with the hatch wide open and pull into a damn garage there where there's a mechanic shop, jump my dumb country ass out on the city streets of Los Angeles and shut that fucking hatch door. Anyway, BMW, I don't know what the hell's going on, but when that hatch comes open, you ought to be able to push the button to shut the sumbitch while you're in motion because it's very dangerous. I'm lucky that I didn't have my damn dogs back there, Shona, Hershey, and Moolah, and they jumped out in the damn traffic. Shit. So anyway, folks, it turns out, happy ending to the story. The spots on my face were okay. The facial went fine. I looked beautiful as a motherfucker, and I got all my clothes for Redneck Island. And I'm not going to get one of those magnifying mirrors. And all is good. Hey, I got a good show for you today. We're going to shoot the breeze. Y'all send in some questions here to questions@steveaustonshow.com. I'm going to answer y'all's questions. I'm going to get some more guests on the show coming up ASAP. I got more people coming up, but I've really been trying to talk to some people in person and get that going. And I got my match of the week coming up. Don't forget to watch the last episode of Broken Skull Challenge this Sunday. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern on CMT. This is the last group of women coming into the ranch. Will anyone, can anyone knock off Heather's time on my Skull Buster? You got to see, you got to find out. If this is anything, it's must-watch, can't miss television, and it's happening this Sunday on CMT. Speaking of CMT, like I said, I'm going to shoot Redneck Island and then going to shoot Season 2 of the Broken Skull Challenge, the toughest motherfucking show on TV. Coming up, folks, after I answer your questions, I'm going to have my match of the week. But first, let me take care of a little biznatch up in this mug. Hey, folks, I know I keep telling you that snacking is an option to help you deal with the hunger and crankiness that comes with dieting because I've been there myself. It ain't easy to stay in shape and live a healthy lifestyle. Well, there's one way to help that. Be smart about what you're snacking on and let NatureBox.com help you out. NatureBox.com gives you hundreds of delicious snacks, and you won't feel guilty about eating them because they're better for you. They're natural. They have zero trans fat and zero high fructose corn syrup. NatureBox also has snacks that are low in sugar. Even better, NatureBox.com snacks ship for free. And there ain't nothing in this world I love better than free. Now, I know I told you that NatureBox has hundreds of snacks, and you get to pick what they send you each month. So if you really like something, you can keep getting it. And if you don't like something, NatureBox will never ship it to you again. You can check out the whole snack selection at naturebox.com. And they're always adding new snacks, too. This month, they added the watermelon fruit chews, the cashew crumble, and the Kung Pao pretzels. They also offer a bunch of vegan snacks, too. And if you're digging free shipping, I'm going to do you one better. If you try naturebox.com right now, you're going to get 50% off your first box. All you have to do is go to naturebox.com/Austin. That's naturebox.com/Austin. Stay full, stay strong, and don't feel guilty about snacking. Go to naturebox.com/Austin and get 50% off your first month's box. That's naturebox.com/Austin.
Thank goodness football season is finally here. And no matter what you're into, we've got you covered. We've got the self-titled Ross Tucker Football Podcast. If you want to know what's going on in the NFL, we've got the Fantasy Feast. If you want to make sure you are best prepared for your fantasy team this year. Or how about the Even Money Podcast for those of you that like to wager on the games?
Available now at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com.
All right, everybody, here we go. Sitting here rocking and rolling over here at the 316 Gimmick Street office. I am chilling. I got my air conditioner set on 68 up in this mug. Chill this subbitch out like hell. My wife always gets mad at me that I got the damn air conditioner on 68. But goddamn, I tell her, I said, you know what? I said, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around on planet Earth. Now, I hope to be here a long-ass time, but given the fact that who knows what's going to happen, whenever I'm sitting here in my crib, I want to be comfortable as a motherfucker. So anyway, I got my goddamn air conditioner set on 68 degrees, and I'm loving it. Anyway, hey, you guys sent me in a bunch of questions at questions@steveaustinShow.com, so let's go ahead and get on the process and start answering some of these things. First question comes in from a guy named Dave. He says, hey, Steve, I was watching the latest Broken Skull Challenge, and that one MMA guy put the other guy in a chokehold, it looked like, in the trench. Are these guys given a set of rules on what they can and cannot do to their opponent during the challenges? If so, what are the no-nos during the BSC? He looked surprised and ticked off after he lost that challenge. Yeah, I tell you what, he was a very intense young man, and he came out to the Broken Skull Ranch to really kick ass, and it didn't go so well for him. I just think he was so tall in that trench, other dude kind of got up under him, and he went for that chokehold, and we had to tell him to get off that neck. Before we do each challenge, I go through my process and the rules. People go out there and lay down the rules so that everybody understands the process of the task at hand, what you can and can't do, the rules, and what you need to accomplish to move forward and be successful. So, certainly when he kind of went back to his instincts, he's an MMA fighter, so I think that came natural to him. So we had to call him off that neck. And, we have some very intense competition out there, man. These men and women, they come out to the Broken Skull Ranch to give it everything they got. And he lost, and he was a little bit hot afterwards. But, you can't grab around the neck. We had to start going a little bit more into detail about what they couldn't do just as far as offensively, because some of those guys and gals come out there and they get so ramped up in the heat of competition that they're in survival mode, because if you win, you stick around, and if you lose, you go stepping down the road. And I thought we might come to blows there for a second. One of us, two of them, whatever it's going to be. But he was a good dude. He was just a little hot that he lost and had to go stepping down the road. But I appreciated the intensity with which he brought to the Broken Skull Challenge. And everybody that comes out there knows that they're there for a reason, because they love a challenge. They're all alpha males and alpha females, and they want to win. So he put it all on the line, and we had to call him off that neck. But anyways, there's some funny things that happen out there. We need to make a blooper reel of all the stuff that, that doesn't make air, because hell, we damn near have a hit show just off that bullshit. Anyway, that's how it goes. We got a long list of things to try to keep everybody in check. But that being said, you get a lot of adrenaline, testosterone, and all that stuff going on out there. It can make for a very interesting day at the office. And sometimes, during the filming process, I got an email the other day, and someone said, sometimes when you film the Skull Buster, you're wearing a jacket. How come? I thought it was 90 degrees out there. And yeah, when it's hotter than hell out there, it was 90 degrees plus. That first day or two of filming out there, I got my ass burnt to a damn crisp. And I had to put layer after layer of sunblock on. Y'all done heard me tell that story. But there's a couple of mornings in particular, we'd get up and shit, there'd be frost on the ground. It'd be 40 degrees. And then on top of that, what you couldn't see, the wind was blowing like a sunbitch, so it was colder than shit. Now, if I was going to run the Skull Buster or do one of the competitions or challenges, obviously I would have had my jacket off, but I'm out there hosting the damn thing. So obviously, if it's cold, my body don't like cold weather. So I wear a hoodie, and that's why I had a jacket on. But make no mistake about it, sometimes in the morning it was hotter than fuck. Sometimes in the morning it was cold as fuck. When it was cold as fuck, I wore a jacket, and then about 2 hours later, it was hotter than hell. That's how the weather goes out there in that area that we filmed the Broken Skull Challenge at. But anyway, hey man, speaking of the Broken Skull Challenge, he says, Bama Buck 888 on Twitter. Bama Buck 888 on Twitter asked me, hey Steve, listen to the podcast with Tommy Hacksaw. You mentioned you can't straighten your arm. What's the story on that? He's talking about my right arm. I was talking to Tommy Hacksaw the other day and about some CrossFit business. And my right arm, when I tore my tricep off of my arm back in, 92, whenever it was over near Japan, when that thing healed up, I had the 2 screws put in there to tie that tendon back down to my elbow, and that's the reason I got fired from WCW. But anyway, over the years, I've had so much calcium get in that joint that I can't straighten my arm, probably past damn near about a 40-degree angle, whatever it is. Can't straighten it out at all. And I went down and saw 2 badass doctors. I saw Dr. James Andrews in Birmingham, Alabama, 10, 12, 13 years ago. And he looked at that elbow and he goes, Steve, I don't think I can get much out of this thing for you. If anything, if it goes, I would just leave it as it is. And then the guy who fixed my knee up, who put an ACL and PCL in my left knee about 1.5 years ago, Neil Elatrash out here in Los Angeles at the Curlin Job Clinic here. He looked at my elbow because he also does elbows as well. And he said, I don't think there's much we can do with this thing, if anything. So it kind of went with what I, had been told by Dr. Andrews. I got some bone chips in there I'd like to get cleaned out. I woke up the other day, damn bone chip had floated over into the front of my elbow, and it hurt to move my goddamn arm. Most of the time, those chips will float around to the exterior part of my elbow when I'm trying to bench press. And most time in L.A. I work out by myself. But there's been many occasions, me and Teddy Fowler out there training at the Broken Skull Ranch during deer season or just when we're down there together, and we're trying to put some goddamn weight on the bar and train like men instead of a couple of pussies. And a couple of times I'll be, have close to, 315 pounds in that bar on a bench press, getting some reps in, and one of those chips will get stuck in that elbow, and my arm will just buckle. So Teddy's got to keep a goddamn eye out for me while I'm trying to bench press with those damn gimmicks on my elbow. My old buddy, Mark Bell, gave me one of those slingshots. If y'all hadn't seen the slingshot or know about a slingshot, go to supertraining.tv and check out this little contraption. Basically, the slingshot is like a big rubber band, or it's like an ace bandage with a hole for each arm on either side. You slip your arms through these holes, and once you go into a bench press position and go to the lower position, that band stretches across your chest and makes your elbows want to come back up together so you can put more weight on the bar. Or in my case, it just takes the pressure off those elbows when I really want to go heavy, and just makes it a little bit more of a pain-free experience. He's also got some elbow wraps that I'll sometimes use on there, some compression gimmicks, and those help me out a whole lot. So I don't plan on having any surgeries anytime too soon. The next one I plan is getting those goddamn chips taken out of my elbow, because I'll get them on the outside, or they'll float around to that ulnar nerve and get trapped in there when I'm trying to do back or something like that, and that ain't worth the flying shit. So that's the story with my arm. Ain't nothing wrong with it other than the fact it don't straighten out. I got some elbow chips in it. I can still hold a remote control, jerk off, and do all kinds of things with it. So ain't nothing but a thing like a chicken wing on a shoestring. Let's move on down the road and go to this next question. This one's coming from John over there in Burnley, England. I got a lot of fans over there in England. I appreciate you guys downloading the shows. He says, hey, Steve, I want to know when you used to stun people and then you gave them the finger, dropped down, and got in their face, what type of stuff you were saying to them. Did you ever rib any guys and have some fun with what you said to them? I've always wondered. Basically, back in the early days of Stone Cold, when I hit that damn stunner on somebody, I'd kind of get down into a push-up position, and you'd see me shaking my head, yelling a bunch of shit at them. Basically, what I was just saying was a bunch of cuss words, cussing them out. Yeah, you sorry motherfucker. That's what you get for fucking with Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was always words to that effect. Now, different variations of it, but it was what I was feeling and not so much of what I was saying. Now, had I been mic'd up every time, it wasn't anything you'd want the young ones to hear, but I was just cussing my head off and doing what I felt like doing. And that was the message that I gave them, which preceded the promo was the stunner. And that was just kind of the verbal salt and pepper that I put on the end of it just to talk a little trash while they was laying down there selling a stack of dimes they call a neck because they just got lit up with a Stone Cold Stunner. I was cussing my fool head off. And that's another thing I used to do when I hit those turnbuckles on my entrance. I'd always get onto the second rope and hold up my arms. And people always asked what I was saying then. And again, it was nothing but a bunch of cuss words. Yeah, you got that shit right, you crazy motherfuckers. Let's go. It was always just kind of embracing that crowd, endorsing that crowd, and giving them that energy that they were giving me. And, of course, again, it was four-letter words. So if there was a camera guy close up, I tended to watch what I was saying. So, we didn't get, messed around on TV. Of course, when I was in promo mode, cutting a promo, I had my go-to words, ass, hell, sumbitch, words to that effect. I didn't say shit, fuck, nothing like that, because that would have got us kicked off TV. But I always kind of wore that filter when I was doing promos. But those are the things that I used to say when I was in the ring. And it's like I said on an old WWF DVD one time, my take on the business was, hey, fuck you, let's have a good time. It's pro wrestling, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin's in the ring. It's going to be a good time. So that was my whole take on the business, man. Just have a good time, put on a hell of a match, and leave the people glad that they paid the ticket to get in and watch us. And the next time they come back, they'll be happy to, pay money again and come see the WWF wherever we went. Let's go to another one here. All right, here we go. This question comes from a young lady named Tara. Tara says, probably a question you get asked a lot, but I noticed that you are able to tell a deer's age by looking at them. How are you able to do that? Is there a way to tell by looking at their antlers? Thanks, Tara. Tara, no, you never judge a deer by looking at his antlers. That is one of the biggest fools that a deer can play on you. Now, that being said, you're not going to see a 170 class deer that's a yearling. But that being said, you're basically looking at body. A young deer is going to have small legs. He's going to be skinny. He'll have a small neck. He'll have a small head. If you were to, go out in the evening and get in a pasture or a deer blind, and you get a bunch of deer up underneath that stand, you can kind of start picking things apart and dissecting a deer and knowing how old they are. Man, I've been deer hunting for over 30 years. And so don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert at aging deer. Me and my buddy Teddy Fowler 361 on Twitter, Ted Fowler 361 on Twitter. I call him Teddy. Me and Teddy, he comes out there and hunts and works at the Broken Skull Ranch all the time. And, every night after we get through hunting, we'll put on the video cameras on the big screen TV and have a couple of beers and talk about deer and age them. And for the most part, me and Teddy are always, within a year of each other. And many times, more often than not, we're on the same page as to the age of a deer. A 3-year-old deer will be a little bit smaller, will be a little bit more round, going into a 4-year deer and get a little bit more squared off. 5 is when a deer I consider starting to get mature. We like to really shoot our deers at 7.5, and I think that's kind of getting about their best point. But it's all about body type and that big, heavy brisket. Some people talk about a Roman nose. Now, that Roman nose is another thing along with the antlers that'll fool you. Some deer just have a Roman nose, but they might be young. So you're looking at body type. You're looking at their head. You're looking at the weight. You look at the brisket. You're looking at their sagging down in the belly. They got a drum on them like I do, you know. Let me make a long story short. Aging a deer is a lot like aging a person. You look at a person, you can pretty well guess how old they are, for the most part. Same with the deer. That's how we do it, Tara. Let's move on down the road and shift gears here. Hey, Steve, you hit Vince with that damn bedpan and it made a pinging sound. Did you mean to hit him that hard as a rib? And it didn't have a name on that email. I've told this story many times about that bedpan, but let me just make this one a very short answer. I knocked the living dog shit out of Vince with that damn bedpan, and with what I considered the sweet spot of that bedpan, the softest part of it. It was stainless steel and weighed about 5 pounds. So I found the sweetest part to hit him in the head with, and probably the hardest part of his head is where I was trying to hit him. It was a very deliberate, accurate blow, and if I hadn't knocked the dog shit out of him, y'all would have been able to see right through that angle. We would have killed all the momentum that we had. It wouldn't have been as effective. It wouldn't have made the same sound effect. It wouldn't have pinged. It would have been a dud. And all that hard work that we had put together, Vince on his behalf, me on my behalf, the company from a writing standpoint and production standpoint, putting the time and money into this angle, had we done one thing that was the drizzling shits, y'all would have been able to see right through it. So I knocked the shit out of Vince so we could keep you guys entertained and keep making money. And had I hit Vince with that thing like a sissy, he would have cussed me out from daylight till dusk, because Vince is a perfectionist, I'm a perfectionist, and we had to lay that shit in. Anytime myself and Vince ever did anything, it was never to hurt each other. It was never to rib each other. It was always to be the utmost professional that you could be and try to make it as believable as possible. And let me go on a segue here to today's product. I wish the guys are still working their ass off. There's no doubt about that. But, I like that serious tone. Lay your shit in. I tell you what, you ain't got to tell a cat like Seamus to lay his stuff in. That sumbitch will knock that shit out of somebody. He'll put them on that apron and turn them around so their chest is facing the crowd and start beating the dog shit out of them. I could have worked a damn program with Seamus. That red-haired motherfucker and me would have tore the damn house down. Tough-ass Irishman. I could have outdrank him. That sumbitch puts a damn licking in there. Knock it off, Moolah. Got dogs over here barking at the criminals trying to come over here. I'm about to break out my damn 9. Let's move on to the next question here, folks. Moolah! Damn it. I'm trying to do a professional-grade podcast up in this motherfucker. There's no burglars outside. Trust me. Yeah, we'll include that in there for free, folks. What the fuck is my show? It is what it is. Hey, man, recently I've been noticing that the talent's eyes on the referees during a pin is really obvious as they look for the right moment to kick out. I never noticed it until the last couple of years. Do you think it's an issue with the wrestlers, the production team, or have I just become a more savvy student of wrestling after watching for 25 years? And that comes from Rob Taylor. He's noticing that the wrestlers are watching the referees as they count. If there's one thing, it's one of my biggest pet peeves, is anybody that's watching the referee count is doing it wrong. I never watched a referee count, ever. Most of the time when I was in a pinning predicament, because I was in a pinning predicament, I really say 99% of the time my eyes were closed because I'd been hit with a move, or if it was early on in the match, certainly I hadn't been hit with something heavy-duty enough to have my eyes closed, but I was all about listening to the cadence of the referee's count. 1, 2, oh, and you know just when to kick out at 2 3/4, at 2 7/8, just a cunt hair before that 3 count went down. I can't stand when anybody looks at the referee for a count. And that ought to be automatic pilot, auto instinct, and that's my opinion. If you were to ask Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, some of the greatest that ever got in the ring, they might tell you completely different. But my opinion is you never look at the referee. I'm working off a cadence. I trust the cadence, and I trust my instincts. And to the guys these days, if you're sitting there looking at the referee, again, it could be one thing if it's early in the match and you just happen to be right there where if the referee happens to be in your line of sight, it could be construed as okay to look at the referee. But if you're visually trying to focus on his hand so that you can kick out, you're doing it wrong. And someone else from a different school or somewhere around the world who's got 25 years in the ring might tell you different, but that's my opinion. My name is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that's the bottom line because I said so. Well, I'll tell you what, I got all passionate and long-winded about that damn question. Shit. Don't look at the referee when you're getting your goddamn shoulders pinned. Shit. Next one. Hey, when people talk about the greatest rivalries in the WWE, you and The Rock or you and McMahon always come up, but Stone Cold and Bret Hart is never on these lists, which seemed to go on forever and was really a precursor or a blueprint to a lot of stuff that you and Vince did. Why is this the case? You and Hart were as good as it got, and Hart brought such authenticity to it. Sometimes it was hard to tell what was real between what was real and what was fake. Terrence, you know, I talk about my feud with Bret Hart all the time, and I think maybe the reason I haven't talked about the feud so much is because I focused on the certain matches that we had, like the one in the Garden when he handpicked me to make his comeback at a SummerSlam event, and then, of course, WrestleMania 13, and I had so many great matches with him over in Germany. But, you know, sometimes I forget about the ambulance when they were carrying him off to the hospital, and I jumped in there and started beating him up, and Davey Boy and them had to come in there and get me off of him. But, you know, I don't know, but that was certainly a very important feud with me and Bret. And, yes, you're right. Bret brought so much realism to anything that he did. That's why he's one of my favorite workers of all time. When you go back and you watch some of his matches, well, all of his matches, there's a story there. And sometimes you have more time allotted in a match than you do at other matches that you have on a certain event or television taping. But Bret was one of the best in the history of the business, and I will argue that point with anybody that's ever been in the ring. You get a bunch of top guys talking about some of the best that there ever was, and I'm one of them. Bret Hart is always on my list of some of the best guys to ever lace up a pair of boots inside the squared circle. Was he the flashiest summit in the world? Hell no. But everything he did looked good. If you were watching a Bret Hart match in a bar, and the television was over there in a corner, and had the music blaring, and you're just watching this because you might not even be a wrestling fan, but you're out there drinking beer and you happen to see Bret Hart in there working a match, it's going to look real. And we know pro wrestling's a work, but Bret Hart brought realism to pro wrestling, and that's one of the reasons why I loved working with him, but also just because me and that guy had instant chemistry. Hey, I'm going to take a little pause for the calls here. And we're going to throw a couple commercials at you. I'm going to hit you with a couple of spots, do some reads from my sponsors. These are the people that keep us on the air for free. So dig this. These some badass cats. All right, is there anything worse than buying razors? I mean, you usually don't remember that you need them until you go to shave, and you ain't got any. Then you have to sit in traffic to get to the store to buy them. And y'all know how much I hate the L.A. traffic. And then you got to find that locked steel fortress that the stores keep the razors in. And once you do that, you got to find an employee who actually has a key to open it. So you go through the hassle of getting there, getting your razors, and you walk up to pay and find out it's going to set you back $25. Well, guess what? You ain't got to do that anymore. Join the DollarShaveClub.com, and for a few bucks a month, Dollar Shave Club will deliver the world's best razors right to your front door. Dollar Shave Club is so much smarter than going to the store, and they have plans that start at just $3 a month. You sign up once, it'll take about 2 minutes, then sit back and wait for your blades to arrive, and they will, like clockwork. Dollar Shave Club is so easy on the wallet, you can shave with the fresh blade every single week if you want. There's no membership fee and no long-term commitment, and Dollar Shave Club has a money-back guarantee. So really, you have nothing to lose by giving them a try. Folks, stop wasting your time driving to the store, cussing at the traffic the whole way there. Give your wallet and your temper a break. Do what hundreds of thousands of guys have already done. Join DollarShaveClub.com/Steve. That's DollarShaveClub.com/Steve.
Steve Austin, Unleashed.
All right, I'm coming right back. Thanks for all my sponsors who keep this show on the air for free. It allows me to open up 2 cans of audio whoop-ass up in this motherfucker. Pay all the bills. Stacy got to put the show together. They got to do all that other shit over there in Beverly Hills. I just go wherever I'm at and just do my show and do my thing. Hey, get this. I'm fixing to be out in a different part of the country. I got a lot of badass guests coming to the show. I've been really in a vein of wanting to talk to human beings in person. That's why I haven't done too many interviews as of late, because I'm really at a point right now where I want to talk to everybody face to face, and sometimes I can't always facilitate that, but I've got some badass guests coming to the show. I'll drop some names as soon as I get those names accomplished, because as I've learned in the past, there's a couple of guys, that I said were going to be on the show and they hadn't been able to deliver them. So I'll give you those names once I got them. So anyway, here we go again. I appreciate you guys sending in these questions, because I always like giving back to the people that give in, and that's y'all. Y'all the ones that put the damn show on the air or keep the show on the air. Hell, I'm just a son of a bitch over here flapping my gums. So let me flap it and answer your questions. This one comes from a guy named Robert Johnson. Hey, Steve, love the show. In the type of wrestling conducted in high school, college, and the Olympics, there's a lot of concern about skin disease, like ringworms, herpes, etc. In fact, wrestlers must be checked and then held out of competition if these problems exist. I guess they are prevalent because of all the skin-to-skin contact. Is that a concern in professional wrestling? Robert, that's a damn good question. Man, I tell you what, first of all, before you get into the human being part of it, that mat that we wrestle on is dirtier than shit. But you love being on that mat, and it smells like wrestling. As far as the skin-to-skin contact goes, man, for years and years and years, I don't think anybody ever gave 2 shits about, rolling around with another guy for 15, 20, 30 minutes, much less an hour, unless a guy had a staph infection or something that was very, very obvious. But, these days, with the system that WWE has in place right now, the medical that they have there at each and every single show, I think if a guy busted out with some shingles or had some other shit going on, that they would definitely hold him out of, competing in the ring or performing for a crowd in the ring. But back in the day, man, it was just, hey, man, show up. And you used to hope that the guy that you were going to work with had a high level of hygiene, because that was kind of one of the codes. Some guys just got some funky-ass armpits, and that's just the way it is. They can put on the same damn deodorant, antiperspirant that I do, but at 15 minutes after they put it on, they smell like shit. You always hated when you had to wrestle that guy, and that happened many, many times. You got to wrestle a smelly motherfucker.